everybody, and welcome back to Jack Hawthorne's Cedar Lake Zoo for another episode. It's less time than last time between episodes, so I'm going to take that as a win. I am joined today with my good buddy, StoppableSan. Say hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Doing well. San's coming along for this ride because he built something pretty incredible for me for this part of the zoo.
I'm mega hyped to see it, like especially with the entire section, just like how it coalesces and whatnot.
I'm so excited. So this is the wilds of Africa, which it is kind of my magnum opus. There are still like little fine details that I want to get changed over time, and I might scrap an exhibit and do it over. But for the most part, I'm really excited with how all of this turned out. It's kind of a collection of a lot of builds I've made over the years, kind of all put together. So why don't we get started? We're going to go under the underpass. So I made this banner on Canva, and I really like how it all turned out. But we're going to come under here. So the idea... This
gives off, like, major... Oh, go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, it gives off, like, major Dallas and Columbus vibes with the underpass.
Yeah, that's exactly like what I was thinking of when I put this together. So the idea would be that this whole area of the zoo was an expansion that happened after the zoo bought some land. Originally, it was going to be the old quarter of the zoo, and everything before the underpass was going to be the stuff that had been expansion, but over time I just really liked this as like a very brand new thing. So let me pull out my note here, because I don't have the name like put out there on a sign or anything, but this area here is called Kupitalango Village, and what that basically means is like passing through a gate. So the village is in Swahili like us actually passing into the gate to Africa. I used a lot of influences from some towns in East Africa, kind of putting things together, so it's not your typical mud hut kind of run down, like the natives who are uncivilized, because there's actually like quite a lot of really cool towns and things like that in Africa that don't typically think of in the West, and I wanted to kind of model this area after that, except for, the Starbucks over there.
Gotta love Haribo Starbucks.
Yes, I'm wondering if they can hear it or not, but I have some of the Safari mod pack music playing in the background, and I love that. We've got a huge backup of people in this.
The animals here are like really, really popular.
Yeah. So they're not African goats, technically, because this is the Barnyard Animal Pack's alpine goat, but this is the only one so far that we've got that people can come in and be in here and pet the animals, and apparently they really like to do that, because there's quite a lot of them. You can barely see the build, but I put together like this kind of cobbled together fence that was modeled after actual
like with the corrugated metal panels and stuff.
Yeah, there was actually things like that, like going around on Google Earth, of just barriers that people make in their towns and villages in Africa. So this is the ranger station, otherwise known as the Elephant House. We've got Goron's wonderful elephant statue here, but if we come inside, we have our elephant house. I think this was modeled partially after like Columbus and Omaha, but maybe a little bit of Cincinnati in there too. I can't remember.
I definitely see Cleveland there, like Cleveland's the main one with like all the gates and like concrete walls and stuff.
I mean, yeah, you're probably the one that gave me the influence for it, because you're one of my go-to guys if I'm looking for zoo stuff that I don't know about. Over on this wall, I've got a little bit of a family identification thing. I got all of these animals when I was in ZSU, when this zoo still was part of that. And so I don't know if the herd would be a little bit larger in this version of Cedar Lake, but I really like these graphics and the names for the animals. And we'll see Atlas outside.
Knowing the bot, like, you probably only had like the one baby and like 1,200 Japanese rice fish.
ZSU was a time. I miss it a little bit, but you know, things come and go. But we've got some education on the Hawthorne Institute for Endangered Species here for both our conservation that we do here in the laboratories and whatnot, and the conservation that we do in Africa. Got some good education based off of the myth of the Cyclops. And
I actually do remember reading about this. Like, it was really fascinating, like the Cyclops mythology and whatnot.
And I love this little rock hyrax enclosure. My favorite one is this little guy. Oh, hold on. Right there.
The little goober in the very back. Like,
yeah.
The amount of detail you put into this already is like insane.
Thanks. I've got some more education here. Use some things from Goron and whatnot. And then like out in here, I've got some like sticks and things like that that the elephants can mess with. But up here, I kind of modeled the loft up here after Columbus's polar frontier, which is like kind of a weird thing to say for an African section, but I don't know if you know the pictures or whatever, but they've got a research station in there that is like you're actually in an Arctic base, and I wanted something like that for the park rangers here for the national park.
Yeah, that is really tight. Actually, Houston Zoo used to have something like that in their chimpanzee viewing area. It was called Gorilla Tommy's Treehouse.
Oh no, we're stuck
and
on the
they ended up removing that theming when they built the gorilla expansion.
That's awesome. I need to get off the roof.
I remember when Tejicam used to do that.
Yep.
For those who don't know, Tejicam was basically the old guest mode. It was a little cheat code that they did before they officially added it into the game.
The explore mode is so much better. And so most of these pictures here are pictures that I took when I was on safari in Africa back in 2017. There are two pictures that aren't from Africa, and I'd be curious to see if you would figure out which ones those were.
Definitely the Vervet.
No, the Vervet was at my hotel.
Oh, the Vervet was at your hotel?
Yeah.
In that case, then probably the Warthog?
Uh-huh. The Warthog, I think that picture's from Zoo Atlanta, and then there's one other picture that is not from Africa. Yeah,
you actually have me guessing pretty good. The kudu probably from Omaha.
It's the lesser kudu. That's in Omaha. You got it right on the head, even the zoo. That's hilarious. So as we're going through the end of the village, we have this little watchtower for the rangers, and you can come and get yourself some Starbucks coffee. Originally I had named it Kafiru coffee, which I think is the Swahili.
Yeah, Kifaru for rhino.
Yeah, that's what I think. It's Swahili.
Yeah, it's Swahili.
Oh, and then I've got these little Coke machines.
I remember when you were making these.
Yeah, that was this morning. But I really love how you actually suggested for the Coke bottle to go in the elephant's trunk.
Yeah.
I think that this turned out so good. We're just gonna not recognize the people who are stuck here. Oh, hello, buddy.
There's the boy. This is Atlas.
He is the bull elephant here. And he has this yard available just to himself right now, with a big pool for him and some sunshades. That's so cool.
Just watching him drink from that watering hole is incredible.
And the remaster does so much for it.
It absolutely does, yeah.
And I built these the baobabs out of Safari pack pieces and NDP's faux rock pack pieces. And I just love...
Everything just gels together so well. Like the giraffes in the background as well.
And if you look right there, we've got a peek at some of what is to come.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be good.
So the name for the village came from one of the names I had for my ZSU park, when it was Gateway Zoo, I translated that into Swahili. But then Ukuzwana was actually a zoo that I had in Africa in ZSU for a while, and I wanted to kind of give a nod to that. Ukuzwana means harmony, and they can just walk through it. That's fine. So Ukuzwana
real
National
harmonious
Park
of the game, yeah,
is what we're about to go into. This is a structure based off of actual like gates into South African national parks. So we're taking a bit of a journey from East Africa into South Africa right now. There are so many guests in here right now. That's kind of a lot.
I mean, fitting. It is probably like the most heavy hitters in an entire zoo. Like.
So over here is the cheetah enclosure.
I love the tented camp that you did.
Thanks. You were an inspiration for this with some of the things you've done in the past. But I used an old viewing gallery that I made and kind of expanded it. Oh, that's not a cheetah. Those are caretakers. But there should be 2 cheetahs in here.
This is the real life zoo experience. Like you're scouring the landscape, and then suddenly it's in an unexpected spot.
There's both of them.
There you are.
And down here, this kind of twisted metal stuff. This is from St. Louis Zoo. They've got like kind of branch-looking rebar throughout the border of their exhibit to make sure the cheetahs don't jump out. And I really like how that turned out. And shout out to
it's really solid.
Zuv, who took a really cool truck on the workshop that had just weird colors I wasn't interested in, and he went through. I think he calls himself X2 now, but he went through and recolored it for me, and I've used that a couple different places here. Over here, oh goodness, this is just too many people. I'm gonna actually...
This is your average day in Animal Kingdom.
I'm gonna kind of turn down the amount of guests because I wanted to have quite a few in here, but it's just too much right now. They're all kind of concentrated. This originally was for Meerkat, this enclosure, but I wanted to kind of free it up and do it for something else because I have meerkats somewhere else in this zoo that I'm really excited about that exhibit. But in here we've got banded mongoose, so I don't know if we can see any of them pass.
You can like jostle through the crowds and whatnot. Oh.
You know?
Avert your eyes.
We'll just kind of take a look in here. Yeah, you can see some of them.
Oh yeah, I see one right in the middle.
So this is supposed to be kind of like a abandoned camp right here. And one of my favorite things in here is that you have this
oh, that is so cool.
Education that I think it would be like a touch screen. And you could press and hear different calls. And obviously there would need to be a certain level of soundproof of the glass so you're not like screwing with the animals the whole time. Because that would be pretty bad, but I really like how that turned out. And then... oh, I didn't end up putting the actual banded mongoose sign here. I'll have to do that later, but I have a little bit of anti-poaching education. And here is where things really start to pick up. We've got this kind of little gardened area here. But you have like a little ranger tower. You have these statues of lions here that I really like using the taxidermy mod. Over here we have a secretary bird enclosure. Oh, and it's still going super fast. I love this mod. It just looks so good.
It actually looks like a Frontier model.
We waited a long time for this. I can't even remember put this one out, but it's such a good model.
I think it was Great Cake Mods, actually.
Okay, yeah, Cake's been knocking it out of the park. And big shout out to San, who helped me also putting together some of my signage, because it was just taking a long time to get through, and having the extra hands was really helpful. And now we get into the Simmons family.
Or no, it was actually Gushi Guar. Leaf and Gushi Guar.
Okay. Alright.
or it might be Gushy. If I'm butchering your name, please forgive me.
Well, thank you, Gushy, for your secretary bird. In here is Giants of the Savannah, which is one of my favorite builds I've ever done. It's lightly inspired by the exhibit of the same name at Dallas, and you'll kind of see what I mean when I say lightly as we go through. But here's our
This is really, really friggin' atmospheric.
This is our giraffe feeding area, and you can already see in the background we've got some elephants there. So the idea would be that this little alcove down here is where the giraffes could come down and eat, but you know, there's nobody here with any lettuce right now, so I guess they're not gonna come down here for that. But really love how the mud banks turned out and just like the shape of them. I feel like they flow really well.
This really feels like Africa in like the dry season and whatnot, with like all the exposed mud banks.
Thank you. So here's one cool view out into it. We've got some zebras, giraffe, elephants. I think that's a lesser kudu over there, and I think the other animals we have in here are common ostrich, blue wildebeest, and gray crowned crane. So we'll come down here. We've got lesser flamingos and white-faced whistling ducks right here. The palm trees here would be fake. This is set in northern Indiana. There's no way you could get these to grow here. But I think it's still fun nonetheless. So here we kind of can come in and get our better views of the savannah. You've got a little gift shop cart over here. So here's more of the unobstructed view. It's supposed to be like really a dry riverbed down here, but with the
way you have like the dead ball and those pebbles and stuff like that. This is really well done.
Thank you. So we got some of our female elephants out here. I think in a real zoo, you'd have to have more separation between them and some of the other animals, or at least the potential for that. But I was just kind of wanting to go full fantasy with this.
Even still, like, they're like, design like this is still very, very plausible. Like, the only thing you would need to do is just like make sure the elephants or giraffes wouldn't like trip over like the riverbanks and such.
Yeah. This is one of my favorite parts, the watering hole.
Ooh.
The kudu really like to stick around here, and I think you can see some wildebeest over there. But
the way NDP's like faux rocks and whatnot, they make up like the shoreline of the watering hole. That is insane.
Thanks. I had some pointers from Nicholas LionRider with this that it really turned out so well, I think. And it's just really cool to see all of these different animals kind of walking past and kind of pointing and going, oh, look, there's one. It reminds me, honestly, of being on safari a little bit.
Like, especially if you have the quarter-operated binoculars and whatnot, and being able to point out all those animals.
That's a good idea. And why is that fence there?
Jack probably threw it there last minute.
If that gets your appetite up, we've got our little restaurant in here. Don't mind that planting, that's weird. I don't know why it happened like that, but got this black rhino statue in here, and you can see all the animals as you eat. One of my favorite things is if you come over to the line where you would get your food, you come through, and as you're in line, you still have this unobstructed, well, more or less unobstructed view of the savannah. Okay, yeah, so my game just kind of froze for a second, but as I was saying, while you're in line here, even before you go sit down with your food, you can still have this like view of the elephants and the giraffes and whatever out here, and it's really nice.
Oh yeah, like this is like really something special.
You can imagine little kids coming up and sticking their faces against this window.
So what kind of menu do you think this restaurant would serve anyways?
I think it would be your typical stuff like burgers and hot dogs and soft pretzels that you would see at your typical zoo. Maybe some African-inspired dishes from time to time. As we move back here, this is actually an alternative entrance to the zoo. This would be an entrance for like field trips and things like that. It's not quite finished, but this is actually something you built.
I remember building this as like a carnivore viewing area. This was for my old ZSU zoo, which was called Wodo Yalowak Wild Animal Park. And this was a viewing area into lions, African wild dogs, and cheetahs.
And it looked really good like that, and I thought, you know, it's a shame that that zoo's not doing anything anymore. I think it would be really fitting in well here, because you actually named it after Jack Hawthorne.
Yeah, I called it Camp Hawthorne. It was actually based off the Camp Cowabunga exhibit at the Topeka Zoo. I actually have the autobiography of the first zoo director of the Topeka Zoo. His name is Gary K. Clark. And he basically led the zoo on a giant renaissance. And Camp Cowabunga was the last exhibit that he had a stake in before he died.
So, because the taxidermy mod is still kind of, you know, having some issues, it does not look good, and all the animals have moved out of the poses. Sorry. All the animals have moved out of the poses that they were supposed to be in, but I've got this little carousel right here that I think is really kind of
I could just imagine a kid like straddling the back of the gorilla.
The gorilla would be kind of in a walking position, but again, the taxidermy mod is very much still in beta. And then you've got this like little gathering area for school groups and things like that.
That is wicked.
Thank you. And you've got a helicopter right here, just kind of as a set piece. And you get your first look at the King's Kopie. I really wanted to make kind of an all-out lion build for this zoo, and I think I was able to do a pretty decent job putting this together. This is based off.
Pretty decent. Are you kidding me? This
well,
is incredible.
I'm not. I don't want to toot my own horn. But this is based off of actual like rock formations in Africa that are kind of set up like this, that have some like really round and smooth rocks as part of them. We'll get a better look at it over here. So I think it's traversable to the point where you can have like lions standing all the way up here. Let's see if he'll go for that. Close enough. But
that is still like an amazing view.
Thank you. And so that is like in part inspired by Omaha, but it's kind of Omaha like times 1,000. But this right here is completely ripped directly from Omaha. A little Kopie aviary that I think I might...
With the view of the lions in the back, that is tight.
Yes, I might change up the birds that I have in here because I have another aviary somewhere else, but right now it's got Sacred Ibis, Von der Decken's Hornbill, Green Turaco, Superb Starling. I think that's it. And then we've got this little sign for the area, and before we go down, I'll show you some of the other stuff we've got. This is directly ripped from Omaha. It is a meerkat and klipspringer exhibit in real life, but I decided to add the crested porcupine to it. And I don't know if you can see anything but the meerkats right now. That's kind of weird.
Maybe from like another viewing point?
Oh, there's the Clippies.
Yeah, yep, there they are.
Who knows
And the
where
porcupine is the only one.
is? I've seen the oh wait, no, it's right there. And the meerkat popping up right next to it. That's kind of funny. And over there we have our African wild dog habitat, but we'll get there in a second. What I want to show off is down here.
Like, this would be such an amazing entrance into the indoor quarters.
So this is indoor for the wild dogs. I think they have access to it down here, but I have not set up access for the lions for down here. But
The lion exhibit, or this indoor space, is insane. Like, you know what it actually kind of reminds me of? There was a lion habitat in the MGM Grand in Vegas.
Oh gosh,
which was like surrounded by glass, and it was.
Oh.
No, I mean that like genuinely in the best way possible. It's like a very atmospheric kind of vibe.
I think that I pulled some of the influences off of concept art. I cannot remember for what zoo, but they had an.
It was for San Antonio's gorilla exhibit.
I mean that was part of it, I think, but there was actually a specific lion enclosure concept art that I had some inspiration from.
Ah, gotcha. Because I remember you cited that as like a partial influence for the indoor lion quarters.
Yeah. So this is African wild dogs, and I wanted to give them a nice pool, kind of like Cincinnati does. But you can see up into the lion enclosure and the wild dogs simultaneously. And
the way the giraffe is browsing from that tree as well, like that giraffe statue.
Yeah. Hold on.
Like,
I'll show
you
that in
put
a second.
so much thought into this.
So the wild dogs do have the opportunity to go down there, so sometimes they hide rather than show themselves off. But I love that view.
It really is idea of zoo.
And then backing up a little bit, we've got this kind of little rest area in between. Yes, you got the giraffes feeding on the Tupelo remaster, which I love so much. And then actually right here I have an African penguin exhibit. I don't know if you've seen this at all.
I haven't seen it. This is the first time I'm seeing this, and like, this really is such a vibe. Like, honestly, it kind of reminds me of like it feels like an older crocodile exhibit that was retrofitted for penguins.
Huh. Interesting. Maybe that's lore. I think this was built by Poison Blade, but it's just a fantastic little viewing gallery.
The little Rondeau style building, yeah.
Over this way, we've got a hyena habitat and one of Carlos's amazing skeletons. I put a wildebeest skeleton in here. Doing what hyenas do best, sleep.
This is a cozy little corner for the hyenas, yeah.
Thanks.
Like, it really gives off St. Louis vibes.
That was kind of the idea. So this is something I worked on a while back and kind of refreshed recently. This is African Twilight. It is a nocturnal house, so we gotta set it to the night mode to see it best.
Oh, wow! The stars, the leaves, the roots, and like just this is magical.
So do you know what these stars are? Surely I've told you.
What are they?
They are actually the Twilight Pack bat decals.
Oh god.
So it does kind of take the frame rate a little bit right here, but I think it's so worth it because with the way that they're rendered, they kind of twinkle.
I see that, yeah.
So we got a little, I can't remember what snake this is supposed to be, but it doesn't
Rock python?
really really matter. It might be rock python, it might not. But over here, come on. This game, we love it, but at what cost? I don't even... This is the problem with indoor exhibits. I get lost super easy. So this is an II enclosure.
Tight.
I built a little egg piece II because I wanted it to have that signature weirdo look.
It does kind of look like Mort, actually.
On the workshop, I think I called it Maurice the II. This is a Potto enclosure. I used one of Drax's animals, I think some sort of possum, and tried to make it look like a Potto. But it's just.
I mean, it definitely sells it for me.
Over here, we've got kind of a trifecta of enclosures. We've got our dwarf crocodile. I think he's above the water. That's weird. We've got aardwolves. Still waiting on Leaf's update for that, because that looks so gorgeous, and I am ready to update these guys. And then this is a tree pangolin enclosure with no tree pangolin. It's off exhibit, let's just say. And then we keep going, and we've got our aardvark and fruit bat enclosure. Let's see if a bat will fly by.
Maybe if we go a little bit closer?
I think I saw one over there.
That's the beauty of nocturnal exhibits, like, as far as just...
There's a bat.
Trying to spot everything all at once.
Yep, especially when it's a walkthrough exhibit, and you can't... Oh, there was one!
Oh.
Awesome.
At least the aardvarks is, like, completely visible.
Yeah.
Oh, and the red mood lighting.
This is for Naked Mole Rat. I didn't put a whole lot of effort into it because Naked Mole Rat enclosures are so hard to make in this game. And then I don't... Oh, yep, they're in there. Got Common Genet.
Tight, tight.
It is a little tight, actually.
Like, the way to the mood lighting and everything, like, this really is incredible.
I really got, like, a love for mood lighting in nocturnal exhibits. It takes a while to get the hang of, but ultimately it's rewarding. So, we pop out. Turn back to daytime. Over here we have a crocodile enclosure with some extra reinforcement just in case. Right now I've got slender snouted crocodiles in here. I might switch it to Niles, I'm not really sure. And then we head into the tropics of Africa. This is based off of the Jungle Cruise at Disney. I really love how this turned out, especially with the barrels up here.
It's just like an immediate mood shift, like from the drier, more arid plants to like the bamboo everywhere and whatnot.
Yep. So I used some of Delay Designer's cages here to kind of get some interesting shapes. But this right here is a colobus monkey enclosure that they actually can travel through this. I'm gonna cut right here so that we can see it in action. Hold on. Let's see if one will cross. Oh, I think here comes one. Oh, I love
that
incredible. So much. That feels so zoo to me. Let's see if another one will come up because I just put in a water pipe. Oh, here we go. Yeah, there he goes. Yeah.
Look at him go! Look at the boy go!
Colobus monkeys are one of my favorite animals on the planet. They're one of the first animals that I can say with confidence that my son saw, because it came right up to the glass of the zoo when we took him one time, like a month or two ago. I love columns monkeys so much. So we follow along here, and they've got a pretty decent sized exhibit because I would want a lot of them in here. But I think they mostly just like to be over there.
That's where the food is.
Then we move a little deeper and see our Okapi exhibit. This is loosely based off of Columbus. Really like the idea of having them in an actual wooded area.
Yeah, I absolutely see that. Honestly, in retrospect, I think I could have used the Mopingo tree a little bit more in the area that I built, which we're gonna save that for later.
It's coming soon, don't worry. Got to use some of the Safari Pack signs. Always a good time. This used to be for Mandrill and Red River Hog, but because I had other ideas for Red River Hog, this is just Mandrill now. But I think they make good use of this enclosure.
You could probably throw like a geriatric Red River Hog in there or two.
Maybe, yeah. Come down here and we've got some more statues. Got a leopard hanging out up there and some chimpanzees down here. We've got our Hippo Cove. One of two main exhibit viewings for this species. I made this education a long time ago, but I really love it. It's got the speaker inside the hippo's mouth that you would press it and hear.
That is tight.
Hear the hippo call and then get to feel what a hippo's teeth feels like. These are actually just mammoth tusks, I think. Are there any hippos in here?
I mean, it is the same material. It's just ivory.
They're way over there, and we see the people going the other way. That's awesome. Over here, I did this today. I made a little splash zone.
Oh, wow.
I got this rope course from the workshop, but was like, it's missing something. So, got some elephants spraying water in here, and you got the hippos that you can hop on top of. Just a little play area for the kids, because I don't really have a lot of those in Cedar Lake.
Yeah, it's a good way for them to like expend their energy, so that way they're not like banging on the glass and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. This little photo booth thing, I based off of Lincoln Park Zoo has some of these around, and one of my favorite things is like nobody can use this because of the functions of this game, but this is actually like the PVC thing, so it has
that
physics.
is clever.
If only the game would do things that it's not intended to do, you know?
Yeah.
And then over here, oh my goodness,
The way the chimp just like bounded through.
that's awesome. Usually they're like all in the day room and never out on this hill. I really love this this chimpanzee habitat. I don't know if I had like a specific influence for it or not, but the idea was just kind of have this exhibit where it just seems like the endless forest. Oh my goodness. Hi. But yeah,
This really is a stellar chimp habitat.
Thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to give it as much of a natural vibe as possible. I think with the border here, it's pretty doable. There's
Like, hopefully no one's stupid enough to like hop in, but like there are several measures to prevent that.
Yeah, I think at one point I might have had some more rocks, or this was higher or something. I need to fix it. I might as well just do that right now, because it is a little low. Yeah, it'd be something kind of like that, where
Yeah.
you can't get over it, but it still doesn't feel like there's actually a fence. Oh, he's on top of the rocks. Why is he just out here all on his own? That's weird.
I mean, chimps function in like efficient fusion society, so it like makes sense.
So over here we've got the day room, and I really love how this turned out. Kind of supposed to feel like a research base in the middle of the jungle or something like that. Throughout the area, I do have these little headphones and microphone and radio things that the idea would be
And like the little notes as well.
you could actually talk to people in different parts of this African area about like what you see in the enclosures or whatever. Coming to think of it, that might not be that good of an idea because you have people probably screaming inappropriate stuff over it. But at the end of the day, I think it's a cool idea to just like be able to connect to each other. I got that from Omaha in their lion enclosure. It is hooked up to, I think, like either a helicopter, a plane, or a Jeep radio that you can sit in the Jeep and hear what they're talking through in the lion viewing gallery. And so I wanted to do something like that. So we've got more of the Coca-Cola things with the hippo's got it in its teeth. Little gift shop. And here we begin the stuff that you made. So this sign I still made and had to have this little group of orangutans, gorillas, that you kind of follow throughout here. That was a little touch I made.
That sign is such a vibe.
Thank you. So we're gonna go in here, and I'm going to let you take the lead on the talking.
Yeah, sure, of course.
I have kind of roped off the day room because I'm not really ready to finish that up for you yet.
Yeah, that's fair. So this bit here is actually inspired by the Arrival Gallery at the Houston Zoo. So you can see the Red River Hogs up there, and this is actually part of the Bachelor Gorilla exhibit. And like, I was inspired mainly, of course, by Houston, but also Bronx's Red River Hog exhibit. And look at the gorilla go! Look at the man!
He's gonna pick up the river hog. Oh, nope, he's gonna go.
You can see just how dynamic the habitat really is.
One of my favorite...
And you can also see just how far it goes back.
Oh yeah. I think it's even over there before you get to the indoor viewing.
Yeah.
But I love the little touches you did of the fungus on this tree, like the mushrooms.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I was actually inspired by one of Squatch's builds. He built a longer exhibit for Wine Andrews' workshop in his Orwell Zoo build.
Oh, yeah. Orwell's such an inspiration for this project. I am always rabid for another one of those videos.
And then you go further up the trail.
I love this statue here. This feels very zoo. Like, the placement of it it works so well.
I did put a couple, like, tropical palms here and there because I feel like that's something that a zoo of this caliber would do. Central County actually does that for their coach orangutan and chimpanzee habitat.
Even if they're, like, fake palms, it's all good to me because I think it's worth it.
We also have the main viewing for, well, not really main viewing, but, like, the open-fronted viewing for the Red River Hog exhibit. Usually what I like to do in terms of the exhibits I design, I like having multiple viewpoints in the sense that I would like an open-fronted viewing point as well as like a glass-fronted viewing point, so that way visitors have options.
Yeah.
And seeing the gorilla go out on in the back, like just ambling about, that is insane.
Yeah, and then there's one back there. I really miss the Pants Gorilla mod. I wanted.
He does look like Pants Gorilla.
He looks like Pants Gorilla. But one of the great things about having these alternative views is, like, even if you don't see something over there, you still have a chance to see it here or in, like, a completely different way, potentially, too. And I love just seeing them scurrying back and forth. I actually, today was, like, finding that the Red River Hogs could get all throughout this exhibit, and I had to do some finagling so that they couldn't do that, because it just didn't feel right.
Even still, like, it's absolutely seamless. But you go further up, and this is something that zoos usually do. They like to whenever they have a leopard in an African section, they don't go for African leopards. They go for Amur leopards, which are similar in the physical, like the physicality and whatnot, but also are critically endangered. So you're basically telling like two conservation stories for the price of one. Speaking of, where is the... Oh, the leopard's in the very back.
Yep, he's not friendly. T'Challa.
Very fitting name for him, honestly.
Well, you have to. It's just generic
Maybe
enough.
there's a gorilla named M'Baku further on the trail.
I need to go through and name these
Oh,
gorillas.
I'm to your right, by the way. That's another viewing area.
Oh, I'm not even sure if I've seen this one. This is fantastic. I wish there were some gorillas right here.
You can even see the gorilla exhibit from the leopard viewing point as well. Like if you just turn to the other side.
Let me go back here. Oh,
Like right here, yeah.
this is exactly what I was looking for from you when I asked you to do this, because I knew that you're such a good person with this the like sight lines. You think about everything when it comes to that, and just like this sense of exploration that you get going through here.
Yeah, honestly, when I got into the groove for this build, I really got into the groove.
You did. So this is the family quarters. Or the family
And this
yard.
one's a little bit more open. It's kind of inspired by like just a general forest clearing with like some mangled jungle foliage and whatnot. And you even have a little gorilla statue in front as well.
I love this touch. Yeah, for the other area, I said like Houston and Dallas are your main influences to go with here. But then for over here, I asked you to model it after Atlanta a little bit, because one thing I love about Atlantis is that it's just this big hill. And like typically when you're thinking of gorilla enclosures and things like that, you think of these big, impressive kind of like faux jungle stuff. But I also love when it's just kind of like, you know, focus
like
on
a
the
simple
animals.
hillside, like less is more.
Yeah. This back in ZSU, I was one of the first people to get gorillas, and as part of the road to getting them, you had to do like tasks about like building education for them and whatnot. And one of the things that I built for this was the gorilla of the future. So the idea would be you pull this bar to see, oh no, in the future there are no gorillas. But also at the same time, for whatever reason, you and I and some of our friends like have just kind of stuck with the gorilla of the future as a
That's become a meme among our friend group, yeah.
Yep. So this actually was built by Nicholas LionRider, and it is stunning. I think that both your stuff and his complement each other so well right here. My game is frozen here, but I think it like actually kind of works to see this and all the details, because he modeled this after Tarzan's treehouse in the movie Tarzan. So you got like little chairs and whatnot, and you got like an old-timey clock, and you got a rifle.
A lot of
there.
like Victorian era artifacts and whatnot.
Oh, there we go. We're back. And then I think you picked this out.
It wasn't that necessarily, but it does fit. It does fit that vibe really well. There was a treehouse mural that. So all these murals were done by a gentleman by the name of Paul Barker. He runs a studio called Googleplex Murals, and he actually painted the murals for Brookfield Zoo's Tropic World, as well as a bunch of other projects. He also did the walls for Great Bear Wilderness. He did a lot of the murals for Erie Zoo, actually. He did a couple murals for some other projects. I can't remember off the top of my head.
That's another
Oh yeah,
thing.
He also did Habitat Africa, the forest, like that mural for the Okapi.
That's another thing about like your know-how that I love having in this, is just you think of things like that from real life zoos that I would never even know about. I have no idea where this came from, but I love this little globe. That is so fun. And because of where the billboard is set behind this like lattice or whatever, there's like actually a depth to it, because it's like an actual window.
Like you feel like you're it's like an abstract way of feeling like you're high up in the treetops.
I love both what you did and the viewing gallery that he constructed around it. This just feels so right. Again, I wish there were some gorillas right here.
I mean, there's probably some gorillas on the other... Oh, yeah, there's a gorilla
Yep.
on the other side.
There they are. There's the ladies. And a man, I think. And I think you pulled this climbing frame from somewhere in particular.
Yeah.
What was
I think it was Ulrich Wolfgang. He built it for one of his zoos.
that? Okay.
And what I did was, like, I changed up the collar and replaced a lot of the ropes with these lianas that we got from the tropical pack.
That looks so much better than ropes, man. It's so good. Oh, the telescope. Oh, this little deck right here for the telescope. This is so fun. And like the little gift shop stuff, like the hippo statue. Marvelous job on both of your parts.
But it truly was an honor to build for Cedar Lake.
Thank you. I'm so happy
Oh,
with everything you
if you want to take a look at the leopard
Oh,
viewing
yes,
structure for
because
one moment.
you have the pangolin statue here, but then over at the leopards, we also
There's a Goliath beetle that we just passed by, as well as an
Oh,
African
what?
tiger land snail.
Where's
A Goliath beetle.
Where's the Oh! I love that! Like, there's so many details in this that if you just don't look hard enough, you miss. I love that. That's exactly what I wanted. And I love the
And if
scale here.
you look further down, you'll see a rhinoceros beetle.
Oh my gosh! That's so fun!
I think I had a millipede somewhere as well, probably on like one of the. Yep, there's the millipede
Where? Oh!
on the post.
That's crazy! I love how you use the exhibit pack here. Oh, that's so good. So,
And of course, we got the pangolin for the one that we missed in the African Twilight.
yes. So here we get moved into kind of a Zambezi micro section. We've got pinkback pelicans here, but this is an exhibit also shared with some hippos. So these aren't actually.
So that was the exhibit that we were seeing earlier.
Yes, the very same one. And these huts back here, they're not just like your typical mud huts. These are actually like driven from actual Zambezi architecture. And I wanted to be really careful with anything like this that I put in here, that it has like an actual nod to the people that it's from.
So that way it wasn't like appropriative or anything like
Right.
that.
So this is a little bridge. You've got a River's Edge St. Louis inspired waterfall over here. But then you've got all these hippos, all these pelicans, and still some hippos back there. Oh, I love this. It was kind of tedious to get the water level just right so that the hippos are like visible above the water, just because they'll go to the bottom without that.
Yeah, and they'll like walk on the water rather than like bouncing off the water like they do in real life.
Right.
This is like genuinely one of the most inventive African sections I've seen, and like there's still so much left to see.
Mostly the African woodlands, but yes, thank you so much. I appreciate it. So I just pulled this bathroom off the workshop, but I have a little warthog display right here because we're going to be seeing some of those soon. Got some more aviaries, got some great blue Tarraco, cattle egret, hammer cop.
Got a little Fort Wayne thing going on with the aviary.
Yeah, a little bit of Fort Wayne here. I think the cages were also a little bit influenced by some San Diego stuff, just because San Diego does a really good job at having lots and lots of aviaries. I can't wait to get myself out to San Diego someday. But here's the Gilson family African woodlands. We're actually coming at it a different way than I usually like to, but that's mostly just because I wanted to go through the gorilla exhibit the right way. So we've got this boardwalk here that goes through the African forest. This is kind of loosely based off of some mopane woodlands in Africa. So we'll go down onto this deck here. Got a little education on sable antelopes.
I love the horn display.
Got like some stuff about their sexual dimorphism and the size of their horns and the color of their fur. I think right now I've got Dama gazelle in here with the sable antelope. Not that Dama gazelle are particularly from forests, but I love the animal and did not want to leave this section without them, because it's really one of the best antelopes we've got in the game.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Like, it's funny how we have the base game antelope as well as like the DLC antelope in here as well.
Yeah.
But despite that, like, this is really, really solid. Like, honestly, with hoofstock paddocks, like, sometimes less is more.
Yeah.
Because, like, at the end of the day, like, they're just dirt yards, but you can make them visually interesting and also, like, good for the animals in terms of, like, rocks for them to scratch, like, different body parts on and whatnot, or, like, bushes that they can browse from.
Over here, we've got Bongo and Blue Crane. I think the cranes are right there. Yeah. Bongo did such a good... Well, it's kind of funny. Bongo Hardwood made the blue cranes that are in with my bongos. Hadn't really thought about that, but they're a beautiful bird. They're one of the few birds, like few cranes that I've seen do their like mating dance. I saw them do that at Olanta, and it was so cool. A couple bongo and the cranes, and then over here we've got marabou storks. Just a little yard for them. Kind of influenced a little bit by Fort Wayne, because they don't have a very big exhibit at Fort Wayne. It's mostly just an area of water and an area of kind of grassy land.
I mean, hey, if it works, it works. Like, usually I'm against like pinioning of birds in zoos, but like if it's a practice that's being like phased out, then like it's being phased out.
Yeah. I love their tails. Oh.
Like, I think the best marabou exhibit I've seen was at Zoo Antwerpen. They actually have an entire savanna dedicated to Cape buffalo as well as like a bunch of birds. And the fun part is, it's actually netted over entirely.
Oh, that's awesome. We've got warthog and bat-eared fox together here. Why is the bat-eared fox like? Why does it look like it's drowning? Get out of the water.
It's drowning and starving.
You don't swim.
There we go.
Yeah. It's a little mud pond for the warthogs there.
One thing I actually really like about the fencing, it kind of reminds me of Boma's.
Really?
Yeah. Like, they would do, African national parks would construct fences like these to basically quarantine animals for release or for, like, medical checkups and that kind of stuff.
Oh, do you mean, like, the back fencing?
Yeah, the back fencing.
Yeah, that was a little bit of influence. I thought you were talking about this stuff up here for the boardwalk, but
oh, yeah, no, not the pedestrian fencing.
And then over here we've got Gerenuk, just a beautiful animal. This is pretty much taken directly from the vibes of San Diego's African woods. Really like how this turned out.
Gerenuk are a very criminally underrated animal in zoos.
Oh yeah, there need to be so many more of them. And then the main event of the woodland walkway.
We have the big boys.
The big boys. By the big boys, we definitely mean the vultures, right? No.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Like, what the heck are rhinos doing in there?
One of my favorite things here is the view
The Sumatra Dome.
The Sumatra Dome in the background. So I've got this brick wall that would be like sound barrier for the highway that goes through here, but aside from that, I really wanted to keep that sight line. Got rid of some trees just to make sure that could happen.
like the amount of depth and thought that you threw into this, like from giants of the savannah to the forest to gorillas and now the woodlands, is like insane. Like you really thought this through.
Thank you. I really feel like this particular area is the culmination of all of my African sections that I've built over the years. Like, and if you know anything about me, that's my favorite thing to build in Planet Zoo. And so I just took some things that I've built over the years and kind of cobbled it all together into something that actually works really well, I think. And let's get an overhead view of everything.
Yeah, like the absolute money shot of it all.
So this is my African section of Cedar Lake Zoo. And by African section, I mean all of the African sections that could fit into this part of the map. It's actually kind of ridiculous because I had to split Cedar Lake into 2 different maps. Split down the middle with the highway, of over here being North America, Asia, Margaritaville, Australia, and then moving over into Wilds of Africa, just because I needed so much space to just kind of get everything down that I wanted. But I can't wait to cobble together Photoshop the maps to put everything into one thing. But yeah, this is Wilds of Africa. I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I hope that you'll be back for more soon. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks.
San,
Thanks for having me on board, Ben. Seriously.
Yeah, it's of course so much fun. All right. See ya.
Take care.